Welcome to another edition of Walton Entertainment. Today we'll have more news, information, and entertainment from your local hometown. A grocery store and local business that has been a staple in this town for many years is building for the future. Soon there will be a new John's Supermarket right here in this location. We recently caught up with Greg Thompson so that he could tell us more about this construction and the future of John's Supermarket.
Well, we're basically doubling our store size and our floor size. We're going to have more fresh produce, more meat, more groceries, but the biggest thing and the exciting thing to me is we're putting in a restaurant, and we're going to be able to seat approximately 50 people. Everything that will be in the restaurant will be fresh made. There'll be no canned stuff, no preservatives. All the fresh produce will come in and he'll take it right off the truck and prepare it for that day. So you can come in and you can get a meal, or you can order out and he'll have it plated up for you. Or either there'll be some items in a counter that you can come. If you want to actually bake the meal yourself, he'll have it all prepared in the raw state. You take it home and put it in the oven and you cook it. A whole lot cheaper than going out to a restaurant, but you don't have to clean the mess up in your kitchen when you're through. And he'll have several varieties. Right now he's making chicken Alfredo and meatloaf and stuff like that. Just kind of get folks used to what's coming here in the next 8 to 9 months or so. So it's exciting. It's something that Monroe has never seen before, has never had it before. You'll actually come in. If you like an adult beverage, you can get an adult beverage with your meal. We're not a bar, but we will offer a beer and wine selection with your meal, along with soft drinks and tea and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's going to appeal to a wide range of folks. That's basically where the trend of the grocery store is going. We're still your local grocer, but we can offer some stuff that some of the bigger stores can offer. Folks tend to go toward the prepared meals instead of cooking stuff at home. You know, time constraints on families now are just incredible, with baseball, football, after-school programs, dance classes. You're trying to spend that quality time with your child, so you know you don't want to spend 2 hours preparing a meal, then cooking it, then another 30 minutes after cleaning up. You miss a lot of time with your kids. Plus, some of the younger folks, they don't actually know how to cook. So, you know, it's kind of the best of both worlds. You can come in and get a home-cooked meal pretty much, and you can take it home and you can cook it, or you can have it cooked for you and still have that family time. We will definitely be open during construction. Thank you very much for asking that question. It's going to be probably 6 months of excuse our mess, please, while we expand. But we hope to break ground sometime in March or April. It's a 6 to 7 month process, and by this time next year we'll all be shopping in the new store. And we're also offering, we're going to build 6 apartments above the new grocery store. So it goes along with the city's theme that, you know, we worked on for a long time, to live, work, and play in the city of Monroe. So you can live above the store, you'll have a grocery store, you're within walking distance of downtown shopping, you're within walking distance of 2 parks here in the city of Monroe. And it's just a great avenue for those millennials that want to walk to wherever they go, and you know they want to downsize and maybe only have 1 car instead of 2. And if they work in the city of Monroe, you can definitely live here, work here, and eat here.
Hey, I'm William. I'm with the 4-HBB team. We've got an established program that's been very successful competitively. We won 2 national matches this year, placed 4th at the big one out in Rogers, Arkansas. We've had a demonstration booth set up around here to see if we can get some interest for young shooters to come on and join the team and see what we see and see what we've been doing. Think you'd be interested? Just give me a holler at wcarlin@uga.edu. We'd love to have you join us.
Hello Walton County, this is Kevin Little on Chairman's Report on Walton Entertainment. Today I'm going to talk to you again about the November 6th election. We do have the spliced vote coming up here in the county. That's a special local option sales tax, which we currently have, and we're asking you to continue it. The cities and the county come together earlier this year and started beginning the plans for it. And one of our main focuses is the roads and the roadway systems around the county. I think I've talked to you about it before, but I just wanted to re-emphasize it as Walton County is beginning to grow again. The city of Monroe, city of Loganville, Social Circle, even your smaller cities are growing. So we need transportation dollars to be able to leverage money with DOT, and then we also need to do some of our offset systems ourselves. But the money, if we have splash money, then majority of the roads around that are congested areas are state roads. State Route 138, State Route 81, State Route 11, US 78, and even US 10 going through Monroe right here, Georgia 10, and Spring Street is state route. If they do some dollars on those, but if we have leverage money to be able to help, it will move those projects on up the line. And so that's very important to try to get you, the citizen, to and from where you want to go. And right now it's beginning to look like the Gwinnett County and the Cobb counties, you leave out of your house and you turn on one road and you sit for 10 or 15 minutes or 2 or 3 red lights. So that's what the cities and the county have got together, and a little over $17 million in this splice is going for immediate road improvements. And we think that is very, very important going forward to try to be able to move Walton County and move Monroe, because the growth, like I said, is coming back. So please consider yes on your upcoming vote here in November, because the roads need some expanding, the signals need some upgrades, and some intersections need changing. We also have another $3 million on there for 911 upgrade. As technology changes and upgrades are needed, our 911 system and radios for the city police, the county deputies, the fire services, they need to be upgraded again, and this is the best way to pay for those is through the splice system. So that's some of the things that'll be on there. We do have 2 community centers, one in Walnut Grove and one in Social Circle, and we do have another fire station at the Hard Labor Creek area, which will cover the Union Chapel, Ebenezer area, and the south part of Social Circle. Try to get everybody within 5 miles of a fire station. That way it lowers your insurance premium taxes. And so we've been planning, working hard to get this thing done, and so that's something that is very exciting, and we hope you will consider a favorable on it as you come forward on November the 6th. Also, I did want to talk to you a little bit about the Veterans Memorial. It's on Hammond Drive out in front of the government building. November the 12th at 10 o'clock is going to be the dedication and ribbon cutting for that facility. It's a long time coming. We've been working on that thing for 7 or 8 years here in the county. A lot of people put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to make this thing happen. Right now we've got Mike Steele, who was Black Hawk Downs, and he was in the military in that area over there. He'll be the military speaker, and then Jody Heiss is going to be the keynote speaker for the government side. There'll be several other speakers on that day, but it's a great dedication to our war heroes and the people that serve today. And so we would like to invite everyone out. We'll probably have some type of punch and cake afterwards, but it's a 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock event, November the 12th, and it's from 10 o'clock to 12, and it is rain or shine. So we're going to have the Monroe High School band. They'll be playing military melodies, and they'll be playing a vast other areas of music, and Coleman Landers will be singing the national anthem. So a very big day. We have a couple of preachers from the county doing an opening prayer and a benediction, and so please make plans to be there that is actually the holiday Veterans Day on November the 12th at 10 to 12. If you have any questions or concerns, please give me a call, 770-267-1316. Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Caitlin Miller at Monroe Veterinary Clinic. We're located at 823 East Spring Street in Monroe, and you can reach us by phone at 770-267-3690. I wanted to come and talk to everybody today about moving into the fall and winter months, some really important prevention for your pets. Be sure to check us out on Facebook because we're going to be bringing you a lot of other videos and information about parasites that you need to be worried about protecting your pets against, and also kind of the repercussions if they were to have those parasites, how they can affect both your pets and you and your family. One thing I wanted to bring to you guys today is some information about heartworms. So heartworms are spread from mosquitoes, so any mosquito can bite either your dog or your cat and give them heartworms that way. The reason it's really important to keep them on prevention each month is because that prevention works by killing any heartworms that they've been exposed to. So giving your dog or your cat one dose of prevention is not going to take care of them for heartworms for the entire year. They actually have to be on a monthly heartworm prevention every 30 days so that we can make sure that they are never exposed to any heartworm babies that are allowed to grow into adults. The other thing that's really important to remember is that we live in the South. And unfortunately, it's really great that we have this cold weather right now. It's starting to feel like fall outside, but there are still active mosquitoes out. It never really gets cold enough here in Georgia to truly be sure that we are killing all the mosquitoes in our environment. So if you have a dog or a cat, they are always at risk all year round for being bitten by a mosquito in Georgia. The other thing to keep in mind is that mosquitoes are little. They can get in through your house, they can come in through your screened-in porch. So just because you have a dog that only goes outside to potty or a cat that never leaves your house, it is still possible that they could be exposed to heartworm that way. So the next thing you might be wondering is, why is it so important that I keep them on that prevention? For dogs and cats, heartworm disease affects them differently. Unfortunately for our feline friends, for cats, there is no treatment for heartworm disease. Once heartworm disease is contracted, you'll start to see signs fairly quickly, and unfortunately there's no way for us to actually treat that heartworm. We can help manage symptoms to keep them comfortable, but they usually have a pretty detrimental response after the symptomatic therapy isn't helpful anymore. For our dogs, heartworm treatment is possible. That treatment is very expensive and requires a lot of effort on your part because they have to be kept very quiet and very still afterwards to make sure they don't have any adverse side effects. So what I always recommend to my clients, and what I'd be happy to chat with you about on the phone, is an ounce of prevention goes a really long way for these guys when we're talking about heartworms. So if you can spend a little bit of money each month protecting your pet against heartworm, you save yourself a very big expense of treatment later down the road, and you save your pet from having to go through that. As I said, I am here at 823 East Spring Street in Monroe, and our phone number is 770-267-3690. If you have any questions about this, or you're interested in hearing about the prevention options for heartworm, give us a call and we can chat. Thank you.
Hi, welcome to Monroe Walton Center for the Arts. We've got lots going on for you as usual. Please come visit us at monroewaltonarts.org on the web. In the shop right now through the 30th, we're going to be setting up for our Christmas shop. So you can come on in. We won't really have the gallery completely set up, but you're welcome to come in, of course, anytime. Our shop will be setting up, and we'll have the whole gallery that will open November 1st on Light Up the Night. That we will have the whole shop will be a Christmas gallery of gifts. So it's our favorite time of the year. We have over 50, I think about 55, maybe close to 60 different artists that are going to be in the shop. Everything is locally made by our artist members here in Monroe, Walton County, and surrounding counties as well, few. So come in, definitely November 1st for that. Through the week before that, we'll be setting up, but you're welcome to come in. We'll still be open. We'll have our classes. We have 50 to 60 classes still every single month. Toward the end of the month, we have a stacked pumpkin, a painting class. We have a felted pumpkin making class. So lots of fall activities for home decor and beautiful things that you can make to keep or to give. So come see us. We're right downtown Monroe. Call us 770-207-8937 or visit us on the web, monroewaltonarts.org. See you soon. Bye.
Hello, I'm Kenny Sargent with Keep Walton Beautiful in the Walton County Recycling Center. I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. We've just wrapped up our Rivers Alive event. We're still waiting on some of our supplies to come back. We don't have any final numbers on that. So when we do, I will make sure we report on exactly how many volunteers we had, how much trash was collected, and how many miles we covered. And I will keep everyone posted on that. But I did want to take the time to make sure I thanked all of the volunteers, all of the scouts, school groups, and individuals that was a part of our Rivers Alive event. What you're doing is important. We're proud of this event. And again, I just want to thank everyone that was a part of Rivers Alive for coming out and being supportive of the Rivers Alive program. Going forward, we're going to start trying to advertise and get out into the community as much as we can about America Recycles Day. This year we're going to have the paint collection event. That will be November 17th right here at the Recycling Center. We'll be doing that from 8 to 12. So for more information, you can always call us here at 770-267-1421. But basically the paint collection will run just as it has for the last several years. We'll be doing $1 a gallon for latex paint, and the cost is $2 a gallon for oil-based paints. And of course, the best way to do that, if you've got just partial cans of paint, or cans that are just half full, as long as they're latex and the oil-based are separated, you can combine the latex paints and the oil-based paints into one whole gallon, so you're not paying that cost for just half gallon, because basically there's no way of really judging it. We'll be doing the dollar per gallon just by the gallon cans, basically. So you can combine those to make that more cost effective for you. So again, if you have any questions about the event, give us a call. We're starting to get ready for that. We're wrapping up Rivers Alive, and we're taking a full head of steam to our America Recycles Day event. And like I always do, if you've never been out here to the Recycling Center, give us a call to set up a time to come visit, or just come on out and walk right in the office and find one of us. We'd be happy to show you around, show you what we're doing here, and get you started recycling. So until next time, take care.
Of course, with any gathering, you need a little food, and they have the food trucks here. And on this corner is the laser tag. And a lot of the kids are enjoying the laser tag, and it's in the big black blow-up building, as you can see there in the background. I'll zoom in a little bit here, but that's where they're doing the laser tag. So definitely there's been something here today for everybody. I'm not kidding how young, short, old, or tall there has been something for everybody here. Saturday, October the 13th, downtown Monroe.
Thanks a lot for tuning in. As always, we're going to show you some of the dogs and cats that are available for adoption here at Walton County Animal Control. You know, it's hard to believe we're pressing through that summer and entering into fall, and soon winter will be upon us. And so a lot of times those dogs are out there all throughout the city out in the cold, and we hate to see that. You know, there's no law that prohibits unless there's a declared weather emergency, but otherwise we just prefer that you bring your dogs inside. Maybe you've got an old dog house in the yard that's still functional, or you want to donate a new one. We're starting to take some donations of dog houses so that we can redistribute those to pet owners who might have some financial needs and their dog might need an upgrade of a shelter. And so if you've got that old dog house laying around, you can either bring it by the shelter, you can just leave it out front if we're not here, or if you need some assistance, we can even come by and pick it up. Just give the shelter a call. Our number is 770-267-1322, or you can email. You can find the email address on our shelter website, waltonpets.net. And while you're there, have a look at all the dogs and cats that we've got available needing new homes.
Here we have a little female Chihuahua mix. She's about 2 years old. She's not spayed. She makes somebody a good little lap dog.
Male pit mix, about a year old. Sweet, hyper, looking for a good home.
This is a shepherd mix. He was found at Loganville Walmart. He is about a year old and he's male. He's had all his shots and been dewormed, and he should be ready Saturday.
This is a male. He's already neutered. He's probably about 2 or 3 years old. He's very sweet. Needs a home fast.
This is a bull terrier mix, about 4 months old, female, very sweet, looking for a good home.
Where do you come alive? A stadium, lecture hall, a music hall, church potluck? This year, you have a new spot, walkgeorgia.org, a free website that provides you with all the resources needed to get your heart rate up and body out in your community. Sign up and receive individual or group fitness tracking, fitness demos by certified trainers, recipes, and a guide to resources in your Georgia County, all in one easy-to-use site. When you move more, you live more. walkgeorgia.org.
This is a horse farm, and we've been here for 15 years. And we built it. We cleared the land, and we had the barn built from the trees on the property, and they were milled here. And we chose Oxford because we had family living in Oxford. Horses are beautiful, and I've ridden all my life, and I wanted to have a horse farm, and it just became a dream and a passion of ours. Hi, baby. We love teaching children. Teaching children is something that we love to do. We love to start them right. We like to teach them everything about horses and horsemanship. And we enjoy it very much. And we love to see the children grow, gain confidence, get better, and be just happy. We do teach the children how to clean tack. It's a very important part of horsemanship and taking care of equipment. So they're taught how to clean tack, take care of it, and put it up properly. Well, one of the horses that we have here is a former racehorse. He's an off-the-track, rehabilitated racehorse learning to become a show horse. So he is here in training, and we ride him and work him on a regular basis, and we work with the owner to bring them up to a show standard that we want this horse to be in. So he's getting conditioned and worked and trained on a regular basis. So we have the chickens because many years ago it was one of the boys' FFA projects, and he wanted to buy chickens, raise them up to being hens to lay eggs and sell the eggs. So we've been doing that for 4 years. Oh, I haven't bought a store-bought egg in 4 years. We eat eggs a lot. We use them in cooking, have them for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and many of our friends also enjoy farm fresh eggs.
This is Paul Mullins, and we're here in Good Hope for the Good Hope Poppy Festival. This is Saturday, October the 27th.
You're my umbrella when the rain is pouring down on me. You're my light when the darkness is surrounding me. You're my healer when this sickness is overwhelming me. That's why I sing. God, you are good. You'll never leave. You're always right next to me. Even when I sin, even when I leave, your grace is surrounding me. You're my protection when the enemy surrounds me. You're my friend when the whole world is against me. You're my God and you rescue me. That's why I sing. God, you are good. You'll never leave. You're always right next to me. Even when I sin, even when I leave, your grace is surrounding me. When this life is overwhelming me and I can't see your essence for
Yes, yes, we did. Yes, we put one in every 7th grader's hand a couple of years ago. 6th grader.
It's a little bit cool out here at the start of the festival. About 55 degrees overcast, but it's supposed to warm up a little bit today. And I'm sure everybody's going to enjoy the festival here at Good Hope, Georgia.
We're glad to have everybody here today. Right now, I'd like to introduce Pastor Joel from Good Hope Christian Church. He's going to lead us in our invocation.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Are you out there? Good morning. It's so good to have you this morning. I want to ask you if you would to, is that better? I'm going to ask if you would, let's pray. Father, we are so humbled in your presence and your creation, and we thank you so much for this beautiful day. Father, we thank you for everyone here. We thank you for the opportunity to gather and to just enjoy each other and to enjoy your presence. And we thank you so much for festivals like this, Father, that we get to celebrate the spirit of people like Moena Michael, who exhibit so much of the heart of Christ and the heart of love, your heart. So, Father, we thank you once again for this opportunity. We ask for your blessing. We receive it. Father, we would even be as bold as to ask you to just give us clear skies and just a beautiful day. And, Father, that you would allow us to just be in your presence and be with one another and be here today for the joy that you give us, the joy we have in Jesus. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
So make your way over to City Hall and learn about Moena Michael.
Her father, John Marion Michael, from whom we are all from whom I am descended, as well as Lynn Michael here, Tony Michael,
Lynn Michael,
their wives Libby and Jennifer. We've got a nice little Michael contingent. We got another Michael back there I met 2 years ago, I think, who we have to go back about 2 more generations from John Marion Michael to find the link. And so we've got and Melinda Michael Ambergey here. I get to meet for the first time, though we've been Facebook friends for about 2 years. So we got a good representation of Michaels here. Moena's father, John Marion Michael, fought in the Civil War, was a plantation owner, was a slave owner. On the way back from, he was guarding a bridge in Georgia at the end of the war. He fought mostly in Tennessee, in North Georgia, Chickamauga, Chattanooga, Lookout Mountain, the Atlanta campaign, but he was a soldier guarding a bridge at the end of the war. Not too far from home, sadly, but he hitched a ride on a cart to go back home, fell off the cart, hit his head on a rock, and suffered a serious traumatic brain injury. As a result, he spent a couple of years in the state asylum in Milledgeville.
Oh my gosh.
And the farm just went to pieces. No one could really run it. His oldest son, Willie, we don't know all that much about Willie, except that he just wasn't a very good farmer, apparently, and ended up running himself into a huge amount of debt. Eventually killed himself trying to collect the insurance money, but he hadn't read the insurance policy closely and didn't realize it had a suicide clause. But luckily, the people he owed money to convinced the coroner in Monroe to go on ahead with the verdict of accidental gun discharge. So the money was paid out. His family had married Lou LaFew. I don't know if you all know the Fews of Walton County, but that's an old name here. Most of them lived around Appalachia, actually, next county over. And they had money in a farm, so those kids were all right. But it was left to Moena from about the age 12 on to take care of her sisters and her younger brother, Ed. Which Moena did to a great degree. She started out as a school teacher. She taught in pretty much every school in this part of Georgia for at least a year or two. She ran the Baptist orphanage in Atlanta for a few years, from the age of 20 to 25. Yeah, there's some of her many different honors, stamps, plaques. Her story really starts in 1914 when she's touring Europe. And we'll just forget this because we're into it. That's a Liberty ship that was named after her, launched in 1945, broken up for scrap in the 1970s, but the hatches of that Liberty ship were saved and have been made into tables by an artisan in Manhattan. And if you'd like to buy a table with an actual hatch that says SS Moena Michael engraved on it, it can be yours for the low price of $2,000 plus shipping.
That's not a bad price, really.
I know. I was up for it, but I figured for $2,000 you should throw in the shipping.
Can I ask a question?
And I'm not going to pay the shipping from Atlanta.
What is
Sorry.
a Liberty ship compared to the naval ships and that kind of thing? I never. Do you know?
Well, let's see what slide comes up next, and then I'll talk about it. Well, anyway, 1914, Moena's taking a tour of Europe, and she visits Germany. In the Miracle Flower, she says she's in Germany, in Frankfurt, I believe it is. No, in Cologne, when the war breaks out. But we have a letter that indicates she was probably actually in Switzerland and was just misremembering by about 2 weeks. That was part of the tour. She went to Rome to help her fellow Americans get back. Italy was still neutral at that point. They wouldn't enter the war on the Allies' side for another year. And she finally managed to arrange passage back on the SS Carpathia, a ship that had become famous a year before for being the one to rescue the Titanic survivors. That brought her back. Yeah, those are photos of the old homestead there. The populating marker, by the way, they have. If y'all go by that, I'm going to see it tomorrow and photograph it again. It has been replaced and updated with a brand new shiny marker.
Yeah, you showed a picture of it.
And I'm looking forward to seeing that.
I was there when you did it.
Here you have them talking about all the various places she studied. But she studied at Columbia University just before the war broke out, and was back there in 1917 to 1918, and she was part of the YMCA. Now, for World War I, the YMCA filled in, they filled the role that we now give to the USO. They were doing all of that then. And she was doing everything she could to get in and support our soldiers. They wouldn't, however, send her overseas because she was too old. But she did manage to talk her way as far as New York, and she was there helping train the people who were going overseas. On November 9th, 1918, almost exactly 100 years ago, someone handed her a copy of Ladies' Home Journal that included the John McCrae poem In Flanders Field. And it also had an illustration of poppies in it. And Mowina was so struck by this that in almost a moment of total rapture, she conceived the whole idea of the poppy being the symbol of our soldiers and of our veterans and the poppy campaigns to come. She went to Wanamaker's department store, bought 25 poppies, and started selling them that day, and that was basically the first poppy campaign. In 1919, on a motion from the Georgia delegation, the American Legion adopted the poppy as its official semblance of remembrance at the behest of Mowina. In 1920, they changed it to the carnation. And Mowina was very upset by this and was not going to let such a thing happen again. So she lobbied again, and by 1921, it was back to being the poppy, and the poppy it has ever remained. Also at that American Legion meeting in 1919 was a French woman named Anna Guérin. And she also liked Mowina's idea so much that she took it and spread it to other countries. And that's how the idea of the poppy being the symbol was carried to England, South Africa, and ultimately New Zealand. But Madame Guérin had two faults. Number one, and they all involved her inability to fulfill an order. There is not a single instance where Madame Guérin was able to fill an order of poppies for any given country, either on time or in the quantity demanded. So one by one, starting with the Veterans of Foreign Wars in 1923, who first used her for her buddy poppy, all the way to New Zealand in 1929, people would work with Madame Guérin only once. And she had to keep moving country to country. Now the advantage of this was that it spread the poppy ID everywhere, all throughout the British Commonwealth. And after they abandoned Madame Guérin, they all realized, well, this money we're raising for French widows and orphans, we could be spending on our own veterans. The Kiwis in New Zealand, in what I think is the ultimate example of life giving you lemons and making lemonade, when the poppies didn't arrive on time, waited till they did arrive, created a whole new holiday, which they called Anzac Day for the Australian New Zealand Army Corps that had fought in World War I, and that is their Memorial Day. They probably handled it the best of anybody. Yeah, we'll wait till the poppies arrive. Once they get here, then we'll declare our Memorial Day. Pretty sharp. Over the course of her lifetime, over $3.5 billion, adjusted to today's currency, was raised, all of it spent on veterans. And the veterans themselves would make the poppies. They were paid in the United States 3/4 of a cent for every poppy they made, but if you're making a poppy out of paper, it doesn't take that long. And again, when you adjust for inflation, what they were being paid, these veterans, for making the poppies, was the equivalent to today's minimum wage. Now, every one of these veterans were people who had been classified by the military and the U.S. Labor Department as people who were totally unfit for service or for any job at all. So these were men who, after being told there's nothing you can do to support your family, were suddenly being able to earn minimum wage, contribute something to the family at least, or in some cases fully support it, and all the money made from the sale of the poppies then went to help other veterans, especially disabled veterans. And it still goes on today. The last year I have data for, which is 2012, the American Legion Auxiliary reported $2 million in annual poppy sales, all given to veterans. The poppy sales are still conducted by the VFW, who trademarked the name Buddy Poppy, and by the American Legion. But sadly, those are organizations that have had declining memberships over the past few decades, so the campaigns aren't as visible as they once were. I have photographs all the way up through President Nixon of the president buying the first poppy of the campaign. But really it was the Vietnam War that kind of did that whole idea in and really changed our attitude toward the military. And it's only in the past 20 years that started to reverberate and come around. Moena was a tireless champion of the poppy. But that's not all she did. At the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, they play taps every evening as they change the guard. They used to do it in silence. Moena didn't like the silence. She started a letter writing campaign. She called her congressman. They started playing taps, do it to this day. I mentioned the poppy anchor, which may still be going on or not, I don't know. But at least through about the late 1980s, the anchors were made by a DAR chapter after her death that was located in Rome, Georgia. And I have a program from a ceremony in 1988 where they were giving basically a good farewell and send-off to it. There's a lot of new things we've discovered about Moena in the past couple of years, and that's really what I'm going to focus on mostly for the rest of this, unless you all have questions about the earlier stuff. And I brought some things for show and tell, which is good because this visibility isn't all that great. And first I'll start off with this. You can see a copy of this diptych over in their case. But this is probably the first thing that was ever produced by Moena's Poppy idea. It is a panel with the John McCrae poem In Flanders Field on one side, and Moena Michael's reply to it, We Shall Keep the Faith. And I'll tell you something really exciting about that in a minute and try to play it for you. On the other side, and very tiny in this little corner here, it says, by permission of Lee Keedick, international rights holder. And Lee Keedick was a public relations guy that Moena signed a contract with in January 1919 to help promote the poppy idea. There's no mention of this anywhere in the Miracle Flower. I'm not even sure Moena was aware of it. Just don't know. But this is really the first iteration of the whole poppy idea. You've got the poppy symbol that Moena came up with. You've got, and that Lee Keedick helped design, and Moena's poem, We Shall Keep the Faith. We Shall Keep the Faith is also an important poem because this year, a British composer named Philip Hawke wrote the Great War Symphony, a choral symphony, and the last movement, he concludes this 1 hour long piece with Moena's poem, We Shall Keep the Faith, sung by the National Choir of Britain on the CD. The symphony had its world premiere in London last week. It will have its US premiere on November 11th at Carnegie Hall. If anyone would like to go, the composer has told me he'd love to meet the family and Moena fans, and you can still get excellent seats for about $100. And not so excellent seats, but still good, for about 40.
So he really wants to meet fans.
So if anybody wants to pay the money to fly to Manhattan, $300 a night motel room, and that's going to be about the size of a closet, and cab fare, Phil would just love to see you.
Yeah.
I told him thanks, but you got to throw in the plane and the cab fare at least. I'll pay for the hotel. That photo is from an American Legion meeting in close to the time Moena died in 1939, when they had a parade in Boston, and each of the states chapters entered a float, and the Georgia one with Moena riding on it, of course, won the prize as best float in the parade. You see there Moena with several of her artifacts. Now that's gone, and that's the poppy anchor. Many of Moena's artifacts passed to her sister May, and then to her nieces, Eleanor Howard Cook and Lucia Sizemore, who could not be with us today, but they're both alive and living in Georgia. And about 3 weeks ago, they donated everything they had to the Hargret Rare Book Library at the University of Georgia. The Hargret has also recently taken over the Georgia State Archives collection of Moena items. And Moena, who taught at the University of Georgia's normal school, not at the University of Georgia itself, as is portrayed in The Miracle Flower, not by Moena, but by the guy who writes the biographical essay about her at the end. She taught at the normal school, teaching girls how to be teachers. Although Moena herself never took a college degree. She studied many years in college at all various different colleges, including Columbia University, which is also a bit of a mystery because Columbia was all male at the time, and its female coordinate college was Barnard College. So why she was at Columbia and not at Barnard is one of the many unanswered questions we just don't know. Sorry, I lost my train of thought, but that happens a lot. Other things, in 1949, she was featured on this postcard from Maximart Cards as famous American, along with William Penn. Oh, and in historical events, the Battle of Iwo Jima, Joseph Pulitzer, Moena Michael, the anti-aircraft gun, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Daniel Boone, the Boy Scouts, Nevada, the Statue of Freedom, the Confederate Veterans Memorial, and Canadian Prime Minister William Mackenzie King. I have no idea how they put this list together. It's a rather unusual one, as I think we'll all admit, but you can find this collectible on eBay right now for about $5. And the other thing I want to show you before I try to put my slides together and play you the excerpt from the Great War Symphony are these photos. Now, this is Moena's stationery that she used for at least the last 10 years of her life. You've got a field of poppies in front, you've got a picture of Moena, you've got In Flanders Field on one side, you've got We Shall Keep the Faith on the other. Moena loved to juxtapose those. And she had these made up for friends, fans, and followers and would give them out. There was apparently a whole box of these at one point, I think Lynn told me, and a whole box of copies of The Miracle Flower at my grandparents' house in Athens, Georgia at one point. But so far as we know, they were all stolen out of a storage locker about 1987, as well as everything else that was in the storage unit, sadly. But she would give those out with a pressed poppy in them to people she liked, people who did kindness to her. And that brings me to one of the final mysteries I'll talk about before I try to play the music, which is Moena's will. I found it in the probate court office in Athens, Georgia, just really about 2 years ago. And it's astonishing for two reasons. One is that it was available at all, because you generally do not probate wills for people who are poor and don't own property. So the fact that it was there was astonishing. More astonishing was the reason it was probated when we opened the will and found out that apparently sometime between 1941 and 1945, she acquired a farm in Cherokee County, Georgia. We don't know much about it. We know that she left it to one of her sisters, who lived on it until she sold it sometime in the 1950s, apparently. But where the farm came from, how Moena acquired it, nobody has any idea. The few living relatives of Moena who were alive at the time this was discovered had no knowledge of this at all. And Eleanor and Lucia both remember the farm vaguely as belonging to one of the sisters, but they had no idea of Moena's connection to it. So where this farm comes from is another one of the great mysteries of Moena that needs to be solved. Because every other thing you read about Moena describes how she's poor as a church mouse, always scrambling for funds. People regularly gave her money for helping with the poppy idea and to help with veterans, and Moena spent it all on veterans.
Where do you come alive? A stadium, lecture hall, a music hall, church potluck? This year, you have a new spot, walkgeorgia.org, a free website that provides you with all the resources needed to get your heart rate up and body out in your community. Sign up and receive individual or group fitness tracking, fitness demos by certified trainers, recipes, and a guide to resources in your Georgia County, all in one easy-to-use site. When you move more, you live more. walkgeorgia.org.